Because they're not real. They're a construct of man.
It's true.
And some of the stuff we make isn't great. So, yeah.
All right, here we are, 502. It's all on you.
Oh, thanks for the intro. So, hi guys, I'm Amanda Freed, and I'm so glad to be here with you. And if you didn't hear, I know a few of you have asked for these sessions to be recorded. So I'm going to mind my P's and Q's and not say anything I'm not supposed to. So we are, apparently we're recording this one, and I have to thank Thomas for all of his efforts, because without him, I'd be in a dark room here and not be able to do anything. If this is the first time that you've practiced with me, then I would really implore you, like I always do, to really honor your own body and practice within your means, maybe just a little bit beyond, I guess that's just a little bit beyond your comfort zone. Lilia's Fallen used to say sweet discomfort. So I'm fine with your discomfort, but your pain is not okay. So if you have any pain, joint pain especially is not okay. You want to back off, back out of the pose, whatever that means to you. So please just honor yourself. What I'd love, I thought about this today, is some feedback from you guys about specifically, has this time allowed you to practice more? I know with some of my clients, my private clients, they're practicing more, maybe 3 times a week when they maybe only did once. Are you practicing more because people can't see you? Would you be a little reticent to go into classes where people can see you? So I would love if you would send us some of that feedback, just for my own curiosity's sake. So as far as the layout of the class, we'll sit and center for a few minutes. We'll do some warm-up poses, maybe some sun salutations, and then we'll get into a bit of a flow. We'll have seated, and then really important that you take Shavasana, that's final pose, corpse pose. If you have to quit early, if you have children or animals that are hungry, or it's just time for you to go, please, please, please give yourself at least 3 to 5 minutes of resting after your practice. It allows the nervous system to settle down, the circulation to sort of calm itself down as well. Otherwise, you could be agitated, maybe you have trouble sleeping. So give yourself that Shavasana. So as far as the theme for tonight's class, it is cohesiveness. So one of the things that came out of my meditation this morning, and I'm a meditation teacher as well as yoga, is that this time in the beginning, for me and for many of us, reminded us how we're all connected and made us closer. And once again, as humans tend to do, we seem to be getting more and more divisive. And it's my belief that that division is what's going to keep this going on longer. Meaning, I'm not saying don't isolate, I believe in isolating, but with your intention and your belief to enter an us and them space is not healthy for any of us. So if we can remember that we're all going through this together, no matter what somebody's beliefs are, if we can see ourselves as one people and see ourselves as cohesive rather than divisive, will, I believe, get through this just a little bit quicker. So try and empathize with what people are going through. And so today, we'll do this a cohesive practice. We'll do a little bit of flow. As well, yoga actually in its essence means to connect, to bind to, or to yoke with. First, we connect with ourselves. So go ahead and close the eyes down gently. So we shut out all the noise and everything that's going on outside, maybe your work day or the time you've had with kids today or household chores. We shut that all out for a moment and we turn the attention in. So turning your attention to your breath, to stepping into your body, however it feels right now. Even seeing if there are any areas of the body that feel uncomfortable or have a little bit of pain or stiffness. Just become aware of what is the present condition of your body right now. Know that when we close our eyes, not only are we disconnecting from the outside world as it appears, we're actually connecting with each other on a deeper level. So even though you guys are not connected to each other physically in this moment, when we come together to practice, we are all intrinsically connected. You just honor that connection for a moment. Gently bring your hands together at your heart. I'm not going to require that you chant Om, but if you feel like doing that in the privacy of your home, now would be a really good time. You can inhale deeply, and on the exhale, just tone that Om if you feel comfortable doing so. Otherwise, just a big, deep, full exhale, releasing anything that doesn't support your practice right now. And then gently release the hands, open the eyes. And we'll come to standing straight away today. So you want to be standing at the top of your mat. There's going to be times that I'm back on my mat, but you need to be on the top half of your mat to root down, because you'll need the other length of the mat. Take your feet about hip width apart and just begin to feel yourself rounding down into the earth. So rooting down through your feet. Bend your knees a little bit, and we'll inhale and stretch the arms up. So when you stretch your arms up, you want the arms straight, but the shoulders relaxed. And then exhale, hands to hearts. Release your hands all the way down. Inhale and stretch up. Exhale, hands to heart. You can keep the head neutral here. Then all the way down. And then inhale and stretch up. So notice where your arms get to. Sometimes they'll be sort of at the sides of your face. The shoulders tend to be tight, especially if you work out a little bit. So let's take the arms straight out. Call these Frankenstein arms, and even turn your palms down. And try to reach toward the computer or the screen in front of you. So you're unplugging the shoulder blades off your back. We've done this before. And now from the fingertips, as if somebody was pushing into your hands, plug in. So the chest opens a little bit and the shoulder blades slide onto your back. And then reach out again. We'll do this a couple of times. And then inhale, plug in. We want to feel that connectedness. And then inhale, stretch the arms up again. And notice if you have some more space. The arms might come next to the ears or even behind them. And then we'll exhale and crescent to your right. If you're not used to having somebody mirror, know that I'm going to mirror you as best I can. Bending the knees a little bit. Feel the stretch in the left side body. May not be a lot right now, and that's fine. Inhale and come up. Exhale, crescent to other side. Keep the arms as straight as is possible for you. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. You can move your head a little bit. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, let's fold forward. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. For this first forward bend, and actually I believe all the forward bends, keep your knees soft. So straight-legged forward bends are actually not safe, especially if you have low back problems. Exhale and fold, keeping the knees soft. Let your head hang down. You can shake your head no, you can shake your head yes. We like to end on a yes. Kind of end on a positive note. Inhale, now stretch your chest forward, keeping your fingertips on the earth. Extend your heart forward. You might need to bend your knees a little more, that's fine. When you do that, widen the sitting bones. Even widen the knees a little bit. So you get that back body to open. And then exhale and fold. Now the shoulder blades onto your back. So eventually the shoulder blades might get a little mobile. They tend to be a little glued, right, the scapula. So see if you can slide them onto your back now. Inhale, look forward, lengthen your spine again. Exhale and fold. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. And then we'll go ahead and step your left foot back to a long lunge. Fingertips on either side of your right ankle. And then here, soften in between the shoulder blades. So we just want to get this really sort of melty feeling in the front body. As you're ready, inhale, stretch your right arm up. Squeeze the back of your left leg up. Sit deep into your right thigh. Exhale and touch down. Switch, left foot forward, right foot back. Make sure you've got some width in between your feet, meaning you're not sort of on a tightrope. Squeeze your left hip back a little bit so your hips are square, and then inhale, stretch that left arm up. So the same thing, you want that arm straight. Now, notice if the hand is behind the shoulder. You want your hand in line with your shoulder. You don't want to be pulling at the front of that shoulder joint. Exhale and touch down. Step back, plank position. Look at your fingers, root the index finger knuckles down. Lift your waistline, lift the backs of your legs. Turn the elbow creases toward one another so that the elbows aren't hyperextended. Lift your waistline. So if like this was all you did for a workout, you'd be pretty good. You hang out and plank for a little while. Take your feet hip width apart. For this first one, bring your knees down first. Bend your elbows, let your elbows brush your side ribs. Come all the way down. Slide your hands back a few inches. Stretch your legs back one at a time to make them strong. Inhale, gentle cobra. So it's not a big movement up. It's more of a drawing of the heart forward and drawing the hands back. Exhale, lower down. Curl the toes. Push back, down dog. First down dog of the practice. So go ahead, even in down dog, bend your knees and take your tailbone up toward the sky. With a deep inhale, lift your chest a little bit. So it's like you're lifting out the pose a bit. Take your shoulders forward. And then on your exhale, stretch your chest back toward your legs. Look back at your knees and just widen them a little bit wider than your ankles. Connect with your breath. Spin your biceps up toward the sky. And then squeeze them toward one another. Strengthening the arms. One more deep breath. Look forward, walk forward with an asana, standing forward bend. So feet come to hands and as best that you can. Exhale and fold. Inhale, stretch your chest forward again, knees bent. Move your sitting bones back. This time, hands on hips, shoulder blades on back. Push into your feet to come up into standing. Good, feet hip width apart. So you can stay at the front of your mat. Root down through your legs and inhale, stretch up. Exhale, hands to heart. Release your hands down. So there's a lot of poses in yoga that are bound poses. So we're sort of binding onto ourselves. So I'm just going to turn around. You can stay facing forward. Bind your hands together at your back. And I'm showing you the back of this so that you can bring the palms together with the elbows bent. And in the front body, it looks like the chest opens a little bit. We say open the chest pit instead of the armpit. Bring your elbows back behind you to open your chest a little bit. So I used to have to pry my chest open with a crowbar. And now it kind of goes on its own a little bit. So with your fists resting on your sacrum, bend your knees, and think about stretching the center of your chest up toward the sky. Don't drop your head back. You want to keep the head neutral. So it's more about opening here than stressing your cervical vertebrae. So a nice big opening here, and then we're going to crescent again, but with the hands bound. Let's crescent to the right and stretch your arms to the left. Keeping your belly and chest open, and even turn the belly and chest up to the left a little bit. Crescent to the right, stretch the arms to the left. Connect with your breath. Now root the inner edge of that right foot down. It tends to get light. Then come on up. We'll crescent other side. So I like reestablish. Bend my elbows, draw the elbows back, and then crescent to your left. And stretch your hands to your right. And then turn the belly and chest up to your right. Big stretch in the right side body, and then a little bit of a twist. We'll talk about twists a little more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, keep the hands bound, fold forward. And stretch the arms overhead. Once again, letting your head hang. Slide the shoulder blades toward your waistline so that you make some space in your neck. And then stretch the arms overhead again. Release your hands. Inhale, look forward, lengthen your spine. So when you open your chest, it immediately gets the blood flowing and creates some heat. Exhale and fold. Inhale, step that left leg back again to a long lunge. Squeeze your legs isometrically together, right? So outer body really doesn't move, it's just the muscles that are coming together. Take your right forearm onto your right thigh, and then stretch your left arm straight forward toward me. Good, check in with your right hand. There can be some tension there, so just check in. Sit deep into your right thigh. Exhale, touch down, switch legs. Turn your inner right thigh up toward the sky. That's the back leg, and that will help to square the hips. Left forearm, left thigh. Stretch your right arm straight forward. Connect with your breath. Now lift your low belly up just a little. We tend to sort of dump down there. So just lift up a little, check in with your left hand, no tension there. Exhale and touch down. Step back plank. Spread your fingers, root your index finger knuckles down. Hold plank. Lift the backs of your legs, lift your waistline, soften your heart. Keep your head in line with your shoulders. So you don't want your head dropping any lower than the line of your shoulders. Now you could bring your knees down first again, or we'll bend the elbows slowly, brush the side ribs, and maybe hover for a breath. That's Chaturanga Dandasana. Woohoo! Come all the way down, sweep through, inhale, gentle cobra. If you feel the cobra in your low back, please lower down a little bit. It doesn't have to be a really high cobra. Spread your toes. Curl your toes, push back, down dog. Connect with your breath. So right here, down dog should be a resting pose. If it doesn't feel like a resting pose, you can always take child's pose. You know, these are trying times, and our energy waxes and wanes. So if your energy isn't feeling like you want it to, soften. Knees bent, tailbone up. Take 2 more breaths here. Let your head hang down. Make those breaths full, and hopefully the breath will soften a little bit. Inhale now, stretch your right leg up behind you. So for this first one, just take your right leg straight up behind you, no higher than the hip. Point your toes down toward the earth, and then stretch your chest back a little bit more. Bend your left knee. Exhale, sweep your right knee into your chest. At the bottom of that exhale, right foot comes in between your hands. Take both hands up onto your right thigh. Pause right there. Take your low belly up and in. So this is kind of a setup and a decision. Am I going to do warrior one today? Maybe. Back heel is up, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Hands on hips, if you're going further. Again, take the elbows back behind you to keep your chest open, but knit your low ribs together so you don't dump in the thoracic spine. And then inhale, stretch the arms. And it seems like a lot of instruction. I usually don't give more than 3, but if it feels like too much, take what you can do in the moment, leave the rest. You'll get it next time, or next time, or next time. Deep bend in your right knee. Exhale, touch down. Step back, down dog. Bend your knees, tailbone up toward the sky. That keeps your low back soft. It's really good for your lumbar curve. Inhale, stretch your left leg back behind you. Again, that left leg only comes as high as the hip. Bend your right knee. Squeeze the back of your leg up toward the sky. Connect with your breath. Stretch your chest back. Stretch the arms long. Exhale, bring that left knee into your chest. Pause just for half a breath. The rest of that exhale, left foot comes in between the hands. Take both hands up onto that left knee. So what I'm doing here is pushing down, and then I take my low belly up and in, so that when I come up to raise the arms, I've got all this foundation to support me. Hands on hips, elbows back, open your chest. Inhale, stretch the arms up. If you kept your hands on your hips, great, no problem. Sit deep into that left thigh. So many Americans have, I think 80% of Americans have back injuries, and I'm one of them. So I'm very careful with my low back, and the heel up in Warrior One is harder to balance, but it doesn't torque your back. So this is much safer for low back issues. Exhale, touch down. Move through vinyasa, step back, plank position. Lower down, maybe hover, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, cobra. Draw the hands back, draw the heart forward. Strengthen your legs, lift your low belly. Curl your toes, float back, hips up, down dog. Now you can stay here in down dog, or take a child's pose. We're gonna rest for a few breaths. Really connect with your breath. The periods of rest during your practice are just as important, if not more, than the periods of activity. So don't give yourself a hard time about that. Allow yourself to rest for a few breaths. And if down dog is not a rest, then take child's pose. Let your head hang, stretch your arms, breathe fully into your low ribs. Come on down to your knees now. So I'm going to turn to my side, but you can stay exactly as you are. We're going to do Ustrasana camel pose. So again, because I have a back injury, I always stay up on my toes. I'm not a big back bender. I don't like back bends. So I teach them to you because I do the poses I don't like, but I'm super careful. So it's going to be important to keep the tops of the thighs back. That will save your low back. We're going to shrug the shoulders up just a few times to start to get the chest open. So shrug and roll, start to feel the chest opening. Keep the tops of your thighs back so we're not scooping tailbones. Shrug a few times. And then on like a third breath, you'll shrug up and begin to curl your chest up toward the sky. Now we're not dumping the head back. You want to keep your chin neutral. And then maybe even begin to lean back into the pose a little bit. First one, that's it. Chest up. Chin neutral. Inhale, come on back up. So that's it. That's actually a back bend, and it's actually enough for the first one. There will be 3. Use your options wisely. I always keep the tops of the thighs moving back. I'm never scooping tailbone in this pose. Shrug your shoulders up again. So we'll take second. If you take your arms out in what we call so wonderful pose, this is so wonderful pose. Take your arms out in so wonderful pose. Everything's so wonderful. Take your elbows forward. You'll notice the shoulder blades will slide onto your back and the chest might open a little again. And this might be it. Or you can start to fade back a little bit. Keep the chest lifting. Maybe grab one heel. Keep the other hand on your hips if you choose. Lift up, chest lifts. Maybe reach for a heel. Don't drop your head back. Come up as if somebody was pulling a silver cord from your chest, head last. Connect with your breath. Now, if you're a super back bender, and this is no problem, you can always point the toes back, reach for your feet. Just, make sure somebody's home to call the paramedics if you go too far. Okay. So, knees hip width apart. Last one, shrug your shoulders up. Take your arms in, so wonderful. Elbows forward, chest lifts. Curl, lean, maybe come back. Yes, you can hear my shoulders pop. Connect with the breath. Strong legs. Inhale, come up. Head last. Take your hands down. Step back. Down dog. Keep your knees bent in downward facing dog, shifting your hips from side to side. So back bends of any kind create immediate heat. It's an immediate opening. Connect with your breath. And you might feel that the breath is quick or the heartbeat is quick right now. It's okay, we're burning off some junk. Squeeze your biceps, stretch your chest back. And then we'll walk the feet to the center of the mat. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Take a forward bend in the center of your mat. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Knees bent, low belly up and in. Let yourself hang there for a couple of breaths. Inhale, stretch your chest. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stretch your chest forward. So you can see, if you see this pose from the side, I'm lengthening out of the hips. You want to try and get as much length in your spine as you can. I'm pulling back on my hands, draw the heart forward, and then take your hands onto your hips, shoulder blades on the back. Inhale and rise up. Good. So we'll take a wide stance on the mat. Woo-hoo. Burning some junk we didn't need. So remember, the measure for your wide stance is inhale and take your arms out to the sides, and the wrists should sit over the ankles. So that's a wide enough stance. We're going to turn the right toes in and turn the left toes out. And if you're still facing me, I'm mirroring you. So exhale, bend your left knee. This is warrior two. So we'll connect with warrior two. Squeeze your triceps. Get your fingers on board. So the cohesiveness in the practice here is that the lines of energy go straight through the fingertips. We don't decide to leave anything behind. Shoulders, arms are just shoulder height. And since we're connecting, let's connect with side angle pose, left forearm, left thigh, and stretch your right arm right by your ear. So remember, when we opened the shoulders before, you should have some good space. Otherwise, you can do that little trick where you unplug and then plug in again, and then you'll notice you get some more space. Look down and make sure your knee is over your pinky toe and not your big toe. Charge the back thigh, charge the inner right thigh as well. So that's what we mean, like we want to connect with as much of the body as we possibly can. And then squeeze your left leg straight for triangle pose. Coming into Trikonasana. We also want to stay connected with our own awareness, meaning we want that left leg straight. So if touching the floor is too much, come out of the pose. Take your hand up onto your shin. The other thing we want is that the upper arm is not behind the shoulder again, right? So we kind of want to be able to stay in one plane, the triangle pose. You can look back as well to open the front body a little more. Connect with your breath. Push into your left foot, inhale and rise up. Turn on your feet. Personally, I like to take hands on my hips when I turn my feet so that I know my hips aren't swiveling, right? You want your hips square during this pose. Then inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, bend that right knee. Connect with your breath again, gazing over your right fingertips, just like there's an awareness of like, oh, I can look at my body and see if there's tension in my hands, or if they're just gently present. Take the top of your left thigh and move it back so that inner left thigh works as well. Squeeze your triceps. We'll flow right into side angle pose. Cohesiveness. Stretch the left arm by the left ear or unplug. Plug in. Stretch it over. You'll see you'll get a whole lot more range of motion that way often. Check in with your right hand. A lot of times there's tension right there. So just check in. You can always join the index finger and thumb. Charge your inner left thigh. That's the one. And then squeeze your right leg straight for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Again, you want to stay connected to what's right in your own body. If you need to back the pose off, back the pose off. Squeeze your legs toward one another. Connect with your breath. Often we'll look up at the top thumb just to stay connected. If you get dizzy or lightheaded, look down at the floor. If you want to open the chest, you can look back. Just all these options. Exhale now, touch your left hand down, turn your right toes in, and we'll walk the torso to center. You might need to widen your stance or shorten your stance, so check in with your own body here. Bend your knees a little bit, move your tailbone back. For now, stretch your chest forward and keep the arms straight. Nice inhale there. Exhale and fold. When you fold, draw the shoulder blades onto your back again. So today's about that connectedness. So we want to connect that space in the back so that you can get a nice long spine here. If you have trouble folding forward, sometimes it's because we're taking up space in the upper spine. So think about that back bend we did opening the chest. Draw the shoulder blades onto the back. You can bend the elbows out to the sides. And oh my gosh, you're so much more flexible than you thought. A lot of this isn't even about flexibility, it's about just knowing where to put what, right? How do I find more openness in my body rather quickly? Inhale, look forward, lengthen. Stretch your chest, stretch the arms straight again. Take your left hand center, take your right hand to your right hip. And then keeping the hips squared if you can. So this twist and back bends are in the upper body. Turn your belly and chest up to your right. So we want to keep the hips stable. Turn the belly and chest. And then if your shoulders line up, go ahead and stretch that right arm up. Again, the right hand doesn't go any further back than the shoulder, right? That's too much. Stretch that right arm straight out of the shoulder. Exhale and touch down. Right hand center, left hand, left hip, pause. When you pause here, move the tailbone back, stretch your chest forward, and then turn belly and chest up toward your left. You're going to feel a little stretch in the inner right thigh. Good. Stay there or stretch that left arm up. Connect with your breath, move your tailbone back again. Exhale and touch down. I'm going to do a little demo for you. So your option, you can come and have a seat, or a great way to watch a demo. Heel toe your feet in toward midline and maybe come down to a squatting position. It's a great way to watch a demo if you're still practicing, but you're not really overtaxing yourself. If knees don't squat, because some don't, hips don't sometimes, then just have a seat. So we're going to invite a twist, and I just want to show you how it goes first. And I really want you to work within your own capability here. So we'll take legs as in warrior, and then we're going to come in and we're going to I'm bringing my shoulder inside of my knee. So this is my right side, shoulder inside of knee. I'm going to dig down a little bit to get my shoulder deeper in my knee. This might be where you end, and that would be totally fine. If you want to go deeper, the deeper you dig yourself down, the more accessible this is. If you want to go deeper, you'll take your hand and wrap it around the outer hip, and I'll show you that in a moment. From the other side, you could stay there, or you can reach around and try to bind. I'll show it to you on the other side. So if you don't have the capability of binding behind your back, no problem. You'll just take your hand to where it gets to. This is what that looks like from the other side. I'm doing the same side as I just did. I've got my legs in a lunge position, and I'll talk you through this. I'm going to walk my shoulder down deep in. I'm going to wrap. Now, most of us will wrap here. Doesn't make a lot of sense. That's the widest part of my body. I'm going to slide my hand forward. I'm going to scoop my tailbone a little bit there to see if I get the bind. It's a twist. It's a bind. It's just for fun. So come on up to standing. Take a wide stance. Let's just see where you get with this. You're at home. Nobody can see you, except maybe your children. So you're going to turn your right foot in and your left foot out. I'm going to do the same pose on the same side for the third time. Let's see how I do. Hands on hips. We'll start by taking that left forearm onto the left thigh. So you bend your left knee, left forearm comes to left thigh. Walk your shoulder inside of your knee. Take your left hand inside of your left foot. So you might go, okay, that's plenty. I'm done. Fine. Now you can take the twist right here. So let's just all do that in this first one. Let's just take the twist here. So left knee, about 90 degrees. Left thigh, parallel to the earth. Right hand, right hip, turn your belly and chest up to the right. That's it. That might be where you stay. Push into your left foot, come on up. Let's do the other side. Again, watch the swivel of your hips. You don't want them to swivel. Bend your right knee. Hands on hips is good for now. Right forearm, right thigh. Walk it down. Take your right hand inside of your right foot. Left hand, left hip. Turn your belly and chest up. Now I'm moving what would be your right sitting bone back. So you can widen the seat until we would bind. It's a good twist. It's plenty. Push into your right foot. Come on up. We'll do other side. Watch the swivel of the hips. You want the hips square. So right foot turns in, left foot turns out. Hands on hips, exhale, bend your left knee. Here's the money shot, right? So bring your left hand inside of your left foot or go deeper. So if you go deeper, you're going to just bring your shoulder down and try to work your shoulder in and behind your knee a little bit. You can even take your hand behind the ankle to draw yourself in. And see if your hand will wrap around your hip. So it's the back of your hand that comes to the outer hip. Then scoop that left sitting bone under a little bit. See if you'll bind. If you don't bind, it's fine. Just bring the hand behind you. And see if you get that bit of a twist. The hand that winds is the hand that binds. Nobody raised up and said, Uncle, we must be okay. Push into that left foot. Come on up. Turn on your feet. Watch the swivel of the hip. This is last standing pose, I promise. Left foot is in, right foot turns out. Bend your right knee. Take your right hand inside of your right foot. Left hand, left hip. Turn your belly and chest up. I haven't done the bind on this side yet. I did my right side 3 times. You're going to walk your right shoulder in and behind your right knee, as deep as will allow. See if you can find the wrap. So you wrap the hand, back of your hand comes to the outer hip, and maybe you take the bind. If you're doing the twist without the bind, fantastic. Release. Woo! Straighten your right leg, walk your hands back center. Have a seat in the center of your mat. Hallelujah. Bring the soles of your feet together in Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So when we take bound angle pose, most of us will automatically pull on the outer edges of the feet and the knees will come up. I'm going to ask you to do the opposite. I'm going to ask you to pull the inner edges of your feet apart, as if you were like cracking open a brand new book, as if there was something really interesting in there except for a horrible pedicure necessity. Pull the flesh off of your sitting bones. Take your hands behind you and lengthen your spine. So the same idea that we had before, the integration of the shoulder blades onto your back, we want to keep that if we're folding forward. So here we sort of establish that straight spine. Shoulder blades come onto the back, and so that when we fold forward, we don't lose it. We don't just round. So you think about the center of your chest coming to the base of your mat. You keep the upper body open, sort of receptive in that way. And connect with your breath. Actively press the pinky toe sides of your feet together. Check in with your neck. Have you produced any tension with your practice? Filling the back body with breath. Inhale and come on up. Keep your right leg in, stretch your left leg out. Now I'm going to move back so that my heel doesn't have to be on my hard tile. And I suggest you do the same. Make yourself comfortable. Make sure your heel is, you get a cushion under it or you're on the mat. You can flip yourself around if you need to. The same idea, we're going to lengthen the spine by taking your hands behind you. You can pull the flesh off the sitting bones, so both sits bones are even on the earth. Then we'll fold forward center. Be mindful to keep those left toes reaching up toward the sky and the back of your leg reaching down toward the earth. So one of the best things for me is just to do like a really hard, sweaty practice. And like there are times in the middle of my practice, I'm like, oh, I can't do this. Why did I design this practice this way? But I always get here to the seated poses. It's like, I got through that. I probably could have done more. Or just that good feeling if I got through that. We're going to get through this. Inhale, rise up. Might be a while. Then we're going to turn belly and chest toward that left leg. And think about the low right ribs pressing toward the left. Keeping the spine long, just as we did before. And you can slowly exhale and find a fold. Don't worry about reaching your toes. So many people just grab the toe, bend the knee, and collapse. So don't even touch your toes. We know they're there. We know they need attention. Keep the left side body opening, and whatever fold you get without grabbing onto the toes is whatever fold you get today. I'll inhale and lift out and pose a little bit, and exhale and invite something a little deeper. The secret to this pose is the more you press the back of the leg down into the mat, the more freedom you'll have in the upper body. Connect with your breath so that the effort is in the back of the leg. You're not straining the back at all. Inhale, come on up. We're going to add a twist. So take your left shoulder or your left elbow inside of your knee. So just like we did in the bind, this is going to be similar to the bind. As deep as you can dig your shoulder down in toward your knee, that will give you more freedom for the twist. If you're up here, forearm on the floor, fine. You can get your shoulder deep down, you might be able to grab the inner edge of your foot. Doesn't matter, you be where you are. Take your right hand to your right hip and begin to twist open to your right. Reestablish the strength of the back of your leg into the mat, your left leg. Stretch your right arm up toward the sky. See if your right hand might bind the outer edge of that foot. If it does, great. If not, you just take your hand behind your head. You just don't want it floating there in space. This is one of my favorite twists. I'll give you my other favorite twist in a little bit. Forward bends and twists erase any tension from back bends. So we always do forward bends and twists after any back bends we do. Come on up. Switch sides. Left leg in, right leg out. I'll I'll sort of lift up to reset, to pull the flesh off of my sitting bones. Hands behind, lengthen. Keep that length as I fold forward, center. This is the time that I really make sure that the back of that, what would be your right leg, presses down into the mat. Not quite as important now as it is when I'm folding over that leg, but this is when I pay attention to that. And then I'll come on over, spine long. This is my more difficult side, so I tend to close the angle of my legs a little bit, and then pull in from the heel to the hip, so that you're really strong in the legs. Torso turns over that right leg, and invite a fold. Shoulder blades onto the back, lengthening the spine, no toe grabbing. And keep your hands on either side of your knee. Connecting with your breath, inhaling as you come out a little bit, exhaling as you surrender over that leg. If you find yourself straining at all, just remember to press the back of your leg down. And exhale, and just the upper body can melt down. Take your low left ribs towards your inner right thigh. That will open the right ribs out. Come on up. We'll invite the twist. Right forearm onto the floor, or right shoulder reaches inside of that right knee. Maybe you grab a foot. If not, hand on the floor is fine. Left hand, left hip. Turn the belly and chest up toward the left. I've got to remind myself here to press the leg down. Stretch your left arm up. See where it lands. Hand behind head or on foot. Twisting open. Upper body twist. Low back stays stable because the sitting bones are even on the earth. One more breath. Inhale. Come on up. Stretch your legs out in front of you and give them a little shake. Pull the flesh off the sitting bones again. And this twist is just one of my favorites. So you're going to take both legs off to your right. So here, the knees are uneven, so the knees are not stacked on one another. The left hip will be a little bit heavier, and that's fine. Take your right hand to your left knee, take your left hand behind you, and we'll just gently twist back to the left. Connect with your low left ribs. So we don't lay the head back at all. You're just going to gaze over your left shoulder in that way. It's a really nice stretch also for that right hip flexor. And so we're pressing into the twist from the low right ribs. We're not pulling into the twist. Notice now your body might be cooling down, your breath might be slowing a little bit. Exhale, come back to center and just gently switch sides. Again, the knees are uneven, they're not stacked on each other. Take your left hand to your right knee. Right hand comes behind and gently twist back to your right. Keep the low right ribs opening. Gently gazing over your right shoulder, and just notice as you're in the pose, as you press from your low left ribs over toward the right, Can you find more opening? Don't force it and don't use your neck to press into the pose. Just notice if there's more opening, more suppleness in the spine. With an exhale, slowly unwind and come back to center. Stretch your legs out. And come to the bottom of your mat. So take your feet to the bottom of your mat. So now if there's anything you need to do in the room, like turn lights down or grab a blanket or a prop of any sort for Shavasana, now would be the time. I'm hoping if you had to quit early, you've already done this. Otherwise, sit upright, pull the flesh off your sitting bones. We'll just get one little ab workout on the way down. So legs are really strong, inner thighs press down, take your hands to your heart. Do this to the best of your ability. Strong legs, and we'll lower down slowly. So you can really engage your abs as you lower back. And this gets so much better over time. So we can go slow until maybe, you come crashing down to the mat. Or maybe you can go slowly all the way down. Maybe you can talk while you're doing it. Okay? So lower down slowly, slowly, until the lowest part of the spine touches the mat, and then the shoulders, and then your head gently comes down, hopefully. And then release. Let your legs fall out. Let your arms stretch overhead. Just take a moment of a full body stretch. Connect with your breath. And now point your toes and stretch the arms overhead. So the whole front body now stretches out. And then hug your knees into your chest. So hug both knees into your chest. And you can make a tight little ball, rounding your spine, that's fine. Hugging your knees as tightly as you can. And then lower your head and shoulders down. And if you know Happy Baby, you might just, if you don't know it, you can pop up and look for a second. Happy Baby is when you bring the elbows inside of your knees and your hands on the outer edges of your foot and gently pull your knees back. So if you know Happy Baby and that feels good to you, you could walk a little bit back and forth in Happy Baby pose. So you're just starting to wind down towards Shavasana. So in this last minute, just whatever works. If you want to take your knees side to side, make this last minute of practice your own. And then when you're ready, settle yourself down into Shavasana. So allowing your body to just release and relax. No muscle tension, no holding anymore. Connect with your breath. So remembering that Shavasana is corpse pose. And that there's no effort required in Shavasana. So you can bring your attention to your exhale, as the exhale is the ruler of relaxation. And with every exhale, surrender a little deeper into the mat beneath. Watch the time as I will bring you out of Shavasana when it's time. So just allow yourself to connect with your deeper self. Once you're going to turn your attention out. Bring your attention to your inhale. Every inhale now, bring more awareness back to the body. Maybe wiggling fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Inviting any stretch that feels comfortable for you. Ultimately rolling to your right side and staying there for just a breath or two. And then using the strength of your hands to press yourself up into seated. Just so you're gentle with your body. Hands together over the heart in Anjali Mudra. Anjali Mudra is an offering pose. Know that when you show up on your mat, you make an offering to cohere with everybody around you people that you can see, people that you can't see. You're joining into that collective consciousness, and for that, I thank you so much for your practice, sharing it with me today. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I look so forward to seeing you every week. It's a great practice for me. And again, we love your feedback. So let us know if this is taking you back into your practice or makes you practice again.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. I hope you got a good little sweat on today.
Oh yeah, always. Always got a little glisten up top.
That's nice. Thanks for everything you do. I really appreciate it. You make me look smart.
Yeah, no problem. It's awesome.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Okay. Good to see you, James. Bye, you guys.
Thank you.